China is welcoming guests from neighboring countries to its ancient city of Xian, where the China's Central Asia Summit will open very shortly. You're taking a live look here as the plane carrying the president of Turkmenistan touches down there at the airport. Now, state leaders from Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, and Uzbekistan are set to attend the two-day event hosted by Chinese President Xi Jinping. Now, this is a milestone and designed to elevate China-Central Asia ties to a new high. Over the past decade, those countries have been vigorous players in China's Belt and Road Initiative, from fully loaded trains to humming production lines and national gas pipelines. Official data suggests trade volume between China and Central Asia hit a historic high of $70 billion last year. And that is a 100-fold increase since diplomatic ties were established about 3 decades ago. Now, as the largest landlocked region in the world, Central Asian countries face numerous challenges, especially with infrastructure. Now, under cooperation mechanisms with China, a transportation network of roads, railways, aviation links, and border ports came into being. Projects have largely increased cross-border transportation among all of these Central Asian countries, and they've been described as transforming the countries from being landlocked to land-linked. Again, that's a live look there at the plane of the president of Turkmenistan arriving in Xian. The Belt and Road Initiative is helping more students from Central Asia pursue their higher education goals with scholarships in China. CGTN's Ten Yuan introduces us to a student from Turkmenistan who is pursuing his green energy dream at Peking University.
My name is Serdar Berdimuhamedov. I am from Turkmenistan. I have been in China for about 7 to 8 years.
He says that study abroad opportunities have enabled him to expand his knowledge beyond what Turkmenistan is renowned for in terms of petroleum and into the realm of reusable carbon dioxide.
My home country of Turkmenistan has inspired me to pursue a career in the petroleum industry. During my senior year in high school, my roommate and I learned that we could go to China and receive free education. We applied to joint education projects by Chinese and Turkmen companies. I was fortunate enough to make it through rounds of selection. The China University of Petroleum is where I went next.
According to the Chinese Ministry of Education, over 500,000 students have come to China to study through the Belt and Road Initiative. He's one of them.
Turkmenistan has paid close attention to China and Central Asia collaboration. I came to China in 2015 through the Belt and Road Initiative education programs. This has benefited a lot of students in Central Asia. The Chinese government has offered us scholarships to learn the Chinese language as well as skills. The Belt and Road Initiative, as well as bilateral cooperation, allowed more students from the 5 countries in Central Asia to study in China.
He shares his understanding of China and Turkmenistan ties.
China and Turkmenistan have a long history of friendship. We know that the ancient Silk Road closely connected the 2 countries. This January, our president came to China for the first time after being elected into office. President Xi says with similar visions and objectives as well as intertwined interests, the 2 countries need to jointly pursue the journey towards development and rejuvenation. Regardless of whether it is the Belt and Road Initiative, green development, or it is at media and natural gas, we will achieve great results in these areas.
The president of Uzbekistan landed hours ago. Shavkat Mirziyoyev is also paying a state visit to China. Earlier, President Xi Jinping hosted his counterpart from Kazakhstan. CGTN's Zhao Yunfei has more.
The day President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev of Kazakhstan arrived in China was also the day of his birthday. He turned 70 years old. President Xi said Tokayev's visit to China demonstrates the strength of the ties between the 2 countries and also attests to the leader's unique bond with China. He spent 8 years studying and working in China in his 30s. Tokayev mentioned in an interview with China media group that Kazakhstan and China have not only become good neighbors, but also reliable and friendly partners supporting each other's development. The 2 leaders have signed a joint statement that elevates ties, deepens mutual trust, and exchanges views on international and regional issues. It's not just Kazakhstan. Other Central Asian countries have seen friendships blossom with China. All 5 Central Asian countries signed cooperation documents with China on the construction of the Belt and Road Initiative. The initiative, inspired by the Asian Silk Road, has been seen as part of a friendship dating back thousands of years. The initiative has brought rich fruits in China and Central Asia with tangible benefits to local people and a series of major joint projects. Nearly 80% of China-Europe freight trains pass through Central Asia, and the tunnel on the Angren-Pap railway line in Uzbekistan, the longest tunnel in Central Asia, has been completed. Last year, the total trade volume between China and the 5 Central Asian countries exceeded $70 billion, reaching a record high. That number has increased by more than 100 times in the past 30 years. Celebrating 3 decades of diplomatic ties last year, President Xi said that no matter how the international landscape evolves or how developed China may grow, China will always remain a neighbor that Central Asian countries can trust and count on. Now the 6 leaders have gathered in Xian to discuss the next phase of cooperation, which will set an example for fostering a new type of international relations. Zhao Yunfei, CGTN, Xian, Shaanxi Province.
Kazakhstan is an important partner for China. Trade between them rose more than 34% in 2022. And it's on track to increase even more this year. Their border is a transport hub that's become a gateway to Central Asia and onwards to Europe. CGTN's Natalie Carney reports.
Said Rakimov's international transport company has been seeing good days.
We mostly ship oil seeds, nuts, and licorice root. As for value, depending on the season, we will export to China 200 to 500 tons per month.
Thanks to increased bilateral trade, which reached $24 billion in 2022, China is Kazakhstan's second largest trading partner and number 1 export destination. Yet Said says about 10 times the volume comes into Kazakhstan from China for distribution across Central Asia.
From consumer goods to household goods, there is a lot of building materials, there are cars for private use, and now there are a lot of electric vehicles. The range of goods is very wide.
Many of these shipments come and go via train through the Horgis Eastern Gateway along the Kazakhstan-China border.
The Horgis Gateway is the largest dry port in Central Asia. The total area of the dry port is 129 hectares. Climatic conditions are excellent for year-round container handling as there are no wind loads.
More than 30,000 container units are handled here monthly. This dry port is necessary for rail trade, which is 3 times faster than by sea. Train tracks in China match the width of those in Europe, but across Central Asia, they are slightly wider. So here, all cargo must be shifted to trains fitting the tracks where that trade is headed.
While this dry port has certainly helped to facilitate the trading of goods between China and the rest of the world, their multi-million-dollar financing of this dry port has also added to the increase of their foreign direct investment in Kazakhstan.
The dry port is also attracting many Kazakh companies to Horgis, such as the one run by businessman Sergey, who exports animal feed to China.
The plant was originally built with the expectation of exporting 70% of the supply to China. Yesterday, we sent the first batch of 80 tons of gromolino by pipe.
There is one other rail crossing between the 2 countries, and both countries have agreed to build a third, all in line with their target of reaching $35 billion in bilateral trade by 2030. Yet with this current positive growth, experts predict they will reach that goal even sooner. Natalie Carney for CGTN in Horgis, Kazakhstan.
Uzbekistan's former foreign minister spoke about the Belt and Road Initiative on the eve of the summit.
The proposal by Chinese leaders to organize this summit in Xian have some special meanings, because from Xian it has begun the Silk Road. From Xian, 2,200 years before, established first full-fledged cooperation between China and Central Asian nations. That's why certainly when we're talking about our modern and future, we're always looking to the history of our cooperation. The history teaching that such cooperation became successful when based on mutual interest, mutual benefit. All Central Asian countries understand the huge potential of China in economy, in technology, in innovation.
Bukhara in present-day Uzbekistan is one of the oldest cities in Central Asia. Its rich history lies at the crossroads of ancient trade routes, including the Silk Road. In recent years, the city has seen an upsurge in tourism. CGTN's Feng Yilei reports.
Bukhara's Old Town stands as a testament to its illustrious past, spanning more than 2,000 years, serving as a vibrant hub for trade, politics, and culture. Our journey into the opulent history of Bukhara begins at the majestic Ark Fortress. As we navigate the corridors within this former palace, the enduring ties between Bukhara and civilizations along the Asian Silk Road are evident.
Take a moment to admire the ancient exhibits of Bukhara displayed on both sides. Here you can find weapons, cannons, pottery, ceramics. Pay special attention to the ceramics from China. Archaeological objects show that there were connections with China from the 2nd century BC.
That was during China's Han Dynasty, when emissaries were dispatched to explore trade networks with Central Asia. Bukhara emerged at the crossroads of bustling caravan routes, featuring exquisite ceramics to luxurious textiles. There were ancient bazaars like this one, where merchants from countries near and far exchanged their currencies.
The value of the currency here, as determined by money chargers, was equivalent to the value of the currency in China. Since the 16th century, our trade relations with China have been mutually dependable, and the parity in currency value just serves as evidence that economic cooperation was conducted on the grounds of equal rights.
Thank you. Hey, as you can see, it is still a busy place today, a hub of traditional Uzbek crafts, with tourists and locals buying jewelries, textiles, and many other things here. During the pinnacle of the Asian Silk Road, diverse cultures and traditions converged in Bukhara. And today, cultural exchanges continue to thrive as mosques, madrasas, and crafts draw tourism from around the world. And also in the ancient town, you're going to see these Bukhara caravanserai. They used to be the shelters for travelers and places where people from different cultures came together. By preserving the caravanserai, the locals strive to uphold their rich heritage. Jamshid Kenyayev renovated this 200-year-old caravanserai.
I opened this place for couch surfing, hold events, meetings, create an art space for artists and photographers. People also come here to play chess, and one room is for the travelers who travel individually. About 300 to 400 people from over 50 countries have stayed here.
In this January, Uzbekistan more than doubled its number of foreign tourists from the previous year, including Chinese visitors. The Uzbek government is making visa-free stay more accessible, and Chinese authorities recommend the Central Asian country as travel destination.
We have a target of attracting 100,000 Chinese tourists to Uzbekistan, and we are also inviting Chinese tour operators to Uzbekistan to show our potential and to build relationships.
These efforts hold great promise for both the local economy and the preservation of the region's rich heritage. And Bukhara, along with the rest of Uzbekistan, presents an opportunity for the world to rediscover the magnificence of the Silk Road. Feng Yilei, CGTN, Bukhara in Uzbekistan.
With the COVID-19 pandemic largely behind us, countries around the world are hoping to see a bounce in tourism. China is no exception, even getting creative with how to bring back the crowds. CGTN's Chen Yuan explains.
Who am I?
These are not professional cosplayers, but tourism officials across China. Starting from 2020, to appeal to a wider audience, more and more directors of culture and tourism bureaus started to shoot short videos. Some dress up in traditional ethnic minority clothing. Others rap. Practice Wing Chun. Or go skydiving. Behind the scenes, the directors' goals are similar. As tourism chiefs of small cities and towns, they want their regions to be seen. Sure enough, many of these videos featuring hidden gems quickly became internet sensations. After the tourism chief of Suzhou municipal government went viral, the number of people that visited Suzhou's tourist destinations reached a record high this year. And for He Jiaolong, one of the first tourism directors that started this trend, her live streaming has brought in over 210 million yuan in sales of agricultural products and created over 2,300 jobs for local people. Other officials take the approach of engaging tourists directly. In April 2023, more than 10 tourism officials from Zibo boarded a high-speed train, personally promoting cultural and tourism resources of this city that rose to fame because of its outdoor barbecues. Officials from other cities also stepped up. Shortly before China's Labor Day holiday, the tourism chief from Weifang traveled to Zibo. At a barbecue stand, he invited visitors to Weifang and handed out kites, a gift special to the kite capital of the world. And the man breakdancing in this video is none other than the tourism chief of Ningjing County, performing at a local beer and gourmet food festival. But that is not all. To provide a well-rounded travel experience, the once industrial city of Zibo came up with numerous new services, from adding a high-speed railway service dubbed the Barbecue Express to ensuring reasonable pricing of accommodation and tourist products. Zibo strives for visitor satisfaction in every aspect. Innovative, hardworking, and heartfelt, these Chinese tourism officials and their success stories exemplify the vitality and vast potential of China's tourism industry.
Welcome to Danba.
Shouldering renewed expectations, the exciting journey toward better tourism continues. Chen Yuan, CGTN.
And you are taking a live look right now as the president of Turkmenistan, Serdar Berdimuhamedov, is arriving in Xian. He is the last head of state to arrive in Xian for the summit. Now, others who are already there, presidents of Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, and Uzbekistan. Together, they are set to attend the two-day event hosted by Chinese President Xi Jinping. It is a milestone and designed to elevate China's Central Asia ties to a new high. Official data suggests trade volume between China and Central Asia hit a historic high of $70 billion last year. And that is an astounding 10,000% increase since diplomatic ties were established about 3 decades ago. Now, the president of Turkmenistan took office last year, having won 73% of the vote in the 2022 presidential election. He paid his first visit to China on the 6th of January, marking the anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic ties between their two countries. During his visit, Chinese President Xi stressed that the two sides need to expand energy cooperation on a priority basis. The two presidents also signed and issued a joint statement before witnessing the signing of cooperation documents in multiple areas. That includes the Belt and Road Cooperation Initiative, green development, digital economy, health, culture, sports, press and media, and natural gas. And you can see here a warm welcome for the president of Turkmenistan at the Xian airport. A lot of children there, performance by local dancers, flags there to welcome him to the summit. The folk dance that you see off there to the sides of the screen has a history of over 2,000 years old. It's been listed as an intangible cultural heritage at the national level since 2006. Now, in the past, Shaanxi villagers used the drum dance. You can hear the drum there. Pause for a moment. To pray for good weather, successful harvest, and a happy life. The drum dance is also a traditional Lunar New Year and Lantern Festival activity in Shaanxi Province. More and more young people have picked up on the drum dance, spreading the art and making it more popular among the public. The drum dancers have brought their performances to more than 10 countries, including Germany, the United States, and Australia. Now, our reporter Dong Shui is live there at the airport. She's been there monitoring this latest arrival. Dong Shui, China is the largest trading partner of Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, and Turkmenistan. Also the second largest for Kazakhstan, the third largest for Tajikistan. What can we expect the summit to build on? Will they build on that?
Well, Aileen, before I go into details, I want you to feel the anticipation here, as you can probably see through the public signal. You know, the president of Turkmenistan has just, stepped into his car, and he has arrived here in the Chinese city of Xian for the inaugural China Central Asia Summit. Well, he has arrived for the, and here Chinese Minister of Transportation, Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, local governor are here to welcome his arrival. As you can see behind me, the red carpet has been rolled out, and we've got lovely children here at the welcoming ceremony, as well as a traditional dance performance. Well, this is President Berdimuhamedov's second time in China since his state visit this January, and tomorrow President Berdimuhamedov will hold bilateral meetings with Chinese President Xi Jinping. And experts say multiple deals under the Belt and Road Initiative is expected to be signed right after. And the two countries had elevated their diplomatic ties and upgraded to a comprehensive strategic partnership this January when he paid a state visit at the invitation of Chinese President Xi Jinping, signaling more strategic cooperation not only in trade but also in security and politics. Well, in many ways, Turkmenistan has been isolated from the rest of the world. However, the country is gradually becoming more accessible as a result of its desire to advance its infrastructure and energy projects. Well, notably, China's Belt and Road Initiative has been able to reach the strategically located Central Asian nations that include the Turkmenistan to enhance these aspects of its development ambitions. Well, in 2016, the former Turkmen president had met with the Chinese President Xi to discuss the possibility of his country to play a more active role in the BRI, China's Belt and Road Initiative. Well, before the launch of China's BRI, Turkmenistan had already planned several strategic energy infrastructure projects and corridors. Since its involvement in the BRI, these projects have been able to advance its goal of becoming intercontinental corridors with access to significant transportation networks as well as energy security. Well, these include, but not only limited to, the Turkmenistan-China gas pipeline, the international north-south transportation corridor, and the Turkmenistan-Afghanistan-Pakistan-India gas pipeline. So, as the second largest state in Central Asia, Turkmenistan had a lot of potentials to grow its ties with China and its neighboring countries through multilateral platforms, as well as China's Belt and Road Initiative. Back to you in the studio.
All right, Dong Shui live for us there in Xian with the arrival of the president of Turkmenistan. And that is The World Today. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Elaine Reyes. Global Business with Philip Yin is coming your way next.